Welcome to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. So good to be with each and every one of you on another beautiful day. It is officially hoodie season. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you see we pulled out our black hoodies today because temperatures dropped. It's getting a little bit cooler. It's fall. We've had to fall back with the times. Why do we have daylight savings time anymore? Does anyone know? Can we get rid of that, please? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. My dog doesn't understand it. My daughter doesn't understand it. I don't understand it. We need to just get rid of daylight savings time. But who knows? By the time you're listening to this, maybe we've already sprung forward. So the time is now wherever you are. I'm excited to be with you again on another edition of the Money Script Podcast, where it is our mission to bring you stories from other individuals so that you can learn ways to improve your money script, have a better relationship with money, and improve your financial literacy. For those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, you can see who my esteemed guest is today. His name is Harrison Hill. We will get to him in a minute as we talk about our current events. So I mentioned this on the last podcast, and I just want to bring it up again because it continues to just be all over my Twitter feed. There is something that is very personable and unique when you get advice from a professional that understands your situation. What I'm speaking to is, I can't even call him a friend anymore. Dave Ramsey was always someone that was well respected in the industry, at least in my eyes. He was respected as someone that gave people some, actionable advice. I know many people that have used his strategies to help get themselves out of debt, to buy their first house, to put their kids through college, etc. And I will say this: a lot of things he says are not wrong. However, I do need you to know that his role. He's a multi-millionaire, and I have nothing against multi-millionaires. That's not a bad thing, but his role because he is a multi-millionaire, his role to the general public is to continue making his millions. I just have to say this: he doesn't care about you specifically. He doesn't even know you. So be careful when you are using the information that he's providing as advice. That's why I try to keep things very general for you and try to keep things in a more conservative manner. So if you are someone that believed him when he said that you can get 12% returns every single year and take out 8% and never have to worry about running out of money, I'm sorry, he lied to you. That is only possible if we were in a bull market forever. But we don't have bull markets forever. This year has been a good year, 2023, that is. By the time you listen to this, and maybe 2024, the year may not be off to such a great start. But that's the thing. We have good years and we have bad years. That's the market. It's the average. You don't really get the average. There's a old saying, I think it was a Yogi Berra or one of those guys from the, 60s or some year. I don't know what year he played baseball. I'm not a big baseball fan. But the point is, there's a saying that he may not have even said. Maybe the internet said it. But the saying goes, if you take one foot and you put in a hot bucket of water, and you take the other foot and you put in an ice bucket of water, you are not going to be on average warm. You have a hot foot and a cold foot. It's the same thing with the markets. You don't really experience warm or the average. You experience highs and you experience lows, and over a long period of time is when you get the average. So just because you hear, they say, oh, well, the stock market averages 10% a year or 12% or whatever. Yeah, that's the average when they're taking in lots of data. You got to go back to your algebra classes about the average and what it is. It's the highest the high and the lowest the low, and you average them out based on how much time you have. So it takes a while to get that average. So you don't really get 11% a year. You get 20% one year and -2 the next, and 5 and 7 and -15 and on and on and on. So, but again, that's why we're here, is to bring you a little bit of the truth. Don't believe the hype. And if you need advice for your situation, don't call up my show. Well, you can't call my show. We don't have call-ins. Don't call Dave's show for advice. He doesn't know you. He's selling books and he's making money for his advertisers. Stepping off soapbox. Harrison, I appreciate you staying with me as I went on that rant there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you this young man. His name is Harrison Hill. I know he has a great name, Harrison, right? Harrison Hill. He is from Overland Park, Kansas, currently a resident of the great city of Los Angeles. He is a photo editor. Yes, a photo editor for the New York Times. He has the job I thought I wanted when I went into college. We were actually just talking a little pre-show. We have a couple things in common about our freshman year of college. He got to get some pictures of some pretty cool people his freshman year in college. We'll talk about that later. I got photos of some cool people my freshman year of college. Shout out to Def Jam. Thank you for that. But with no further ado, Harrison, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So let's just dive right into to being a photo editor. I mean, you get to be at all of the amazing places. I think so going through your website, you were at the Olympics a few years ago. So you were at the COVID Olympics. You did the COVID Olympics.
Yeah, I did. I did one of them. There was two. There was the Summer Olympics in Tokyo uh, in 2021, I believe, that I didn't get to
Uh-huh.
go to because I got COVID 2 days before my flight.
Oh wait, so you couldn't go to the COVID Olympics because you had COVID.
Yes,
Got it.
the
Okay.
COVID Summer Olympics. That was in
No
Tokyo.
COVID Summer Olympics because you had the COVID. Got it. Okay.
So then the Winter Olympics happened after that in Beijing, and I was able to go to that.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. I've never been to the Olympics. I don't think so. No, because the Olympics were in what, Atlanta? That's the last time in the United States. Is that right?
I think so. I'm
No,
pretty sure. Yeah.
Utah. Wasn't there Utah? There was a Winter Olympics in
Mm,
Utah, right?
there may have been. I just
Yeah.
don't know the dates on which one happened when.
I don't need. It's all a blur. But I've never been to. So, what is that experience like going to the Olympics?
Man, it was something. It was special, man. I mean, you got to see the best athletes in the world compete, and just being around people who have that mentality, that real winning mentality, and have the discipline to be able to take their skill to the highest level in the world is. It was really beautiful to see. It was really motivating for me to see. Um, we were on lockdown because of COVID,
Oh, okay.
so our travels only went from our hotel room to the venues of the events. Um, so
So you
I
didn't
didn't
get to
get
really
to,
see Beijing.
yeah, I didn't get to see Beijing at all
Okay.
outside of the window
No
of the bus.
flyover. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the flyover. Um, but it's just so cool to see all these athletes compete, and it motivated me. I was like, dang man, maybe I could do the Olympics one day. It was just like so inspiring to see them.
Well, no. Well, hold on. You are an athlete, though, aren't you?
Not for real. I mean, I did sports in high school, and uh, I mean, I'll run for fun just to stay in shape, but
You don't
that's
have any
about
other
all.
athletic hobbies?
Uh, nah, just I mean, I play golf, I bowl,
Oh, there
I
we go. Okay,
run.
there it is. You what? You said it. It was the B word. We've talked about this before.
Bowling, yeah,
I
I
thought you
bowl.
were. I thought you were competitively good at bowling.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to get better. I mean, if I were to be a professional in anything, it would be bowling. It
Got
would
it.
be
Okay.
bowling. Yeah.
And is there an Olympic category for bowling? I assume there is.
I don't think so, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
thinking in my head by the time I become a professional, hopefully it'll be there. Hopefully it'll get
There you
voted into
go.
the Olympics, and then everything will
Then your
align
stories come
perfectly.
full circle. There we go. There
Exactly.
we
That's
go.
the dream. That's the dream.
That's the dream. The dream. So speaking of dreams, like I said, you have, in my opinion, one of the most exciting, coolest, jobs or professions rather that there is to have. When did you first pick up a camera?
I first picked up a camera in high school. Um, my father was a photographer, and he worked for the news as well, and so cameras were always around, and his photos were always in the walls of our homes. So the influence was there subconsciously. But I first picked up my first camera in high school for a film photography class, and shortly after, that's when I realized that that's the only thing I really care about, because every chance I got in school, I would just try to make my way to the photo lab and just hang out in the dark room, make prints. That's what made me feel good in high school. So yeah, that's like where it all got started.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. I am talking to someone that actually did it. This was my dream, y'all. Yes, I'm a financial planner now, and don't get me wrong, I love what I do, but it's something I kind of fell into because I was good at math and numbers and talking to people. But photography was my dream. I picked up a camera in high school. My father dabbled in photography. He actually had a dark room in one of our utility rooms at one point.
Mm.
So I have still to this day, bunch of black and white photos that my father took with his camera. and developed himself in the dark room that we had at the house. So I was exposed to the lovely smelling chemicals of the dark room at a very early age, and in high school took photojournalism, joined yearbook, joined the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And by 11th grade, I didn't even play sports anymore. I was just doing the photographer. I would still go on to all the games with the teams, but just to take pictures because I found that that was much more enjoyable. So I feel you. That's amazing. That's incredible. So you said your father was a journalist, and so you went to school for photojournalism. Then I assume.
Yeah,
Okay.
my parents met when they were interns at the local newspaper in the city that I grew up in. My
Oh,
mom
okay.
was a writer and my dad was a photographer. And so,
Oh, and that's a beautiful story.
yeah, the
Hallmark.
influence was just all
Hallmark, give
around.
them a call. Come on, Hallmark. This is father that's a writer, mother that's a writer, father photojournalist. Together have a child that also becomes a photojournalist and now works for the New York Times. Come on, Hallmark.
I
Run
know.
my check. This too easy. It's too easy.
Right, man. We need it. So, I mean, yeah, it was just
Actually, I'm sorry,
always,
Hallmark. Tyler Perry. I called out the wrong Tyler. Did you
yeah.
hear that, Tyler? This is a true story. Okay. No room for Medea in it, but it's a true story. Anyways, I digress. So photojournalism.
Yeah, it was always around me. And when I was deciding what college I wanted to go to, I could have either went to some expensive colleges and studied business, or I could have gone to some local colleges and studied photography. And
Mm,
that was the first time my parents told me that I can do whatever I wanted. I can make this decision for myself. Um, they left it all to me. So I decided to go with my gut, which was study photography. So I studied at Western Kentucky University in their photojournalism program. And the first day I went into class, because at that school you could start your majors as a freshman. So I remember it was the first week of school. I go into the class, it was photo one, and I remember leaving that class thinking, yeah, this is it. This is it. I don't know
nice.
what's gonna happen, but I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And
Right.
so I just always kept the camera on me in college. I was the guy on campus who was shooting everything. People knew me as the camera guy. Um,
Hmm.
so as people were learning to get through college and learning to be an adult for the first time, I was being able to document that. I had the ability to document that uh, with a camera. So I was able to really see my growth as a photographer. And I made a lot of really close friends in college. And looking back at my photos, I was able to see their growth in their own lives and careers as well in college, which is it's really cool to go back and see those photos and just think like, wow, we're so young. We didn't know anything. We felt
Didn't
like
know
we knew
anything. Oh
everything.
yeah. Yeah, I come across some of those. 'Cause same, I was my first year of college. I was the guy with the camera all the time, and I see some of those photos. I'm like, yeah, no, we didn't know anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Hopes and dreams. That's it. Hopes and dreams. So let's talk about a few of some of those earlier photos. So for those that want to follow along that are listening, once you're not driving, shout out to all my truck drivers out there. Once you're not driving,
Thanks.
grab the links in the show notes, and you can check out some of his photos, and that's at harrisonhillphoto.com. So I've got a couple of them that I've pulled up here, and I just wanted to just hear from you on them. So one that you mentioned is from your freshman year of college, where you were able to capture a picture of one of the unfortunate members of the Migos. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. At our college, we had a couple local party promoting groups, and they would
Mm,
get these artists in town because our school was small. It wasn't a big, major university with 50,000, 60,000 people. So these groups were able to get these artists to come for, different weekends throughout the year. And so the Migos came one weekend, and I remember um, it was fresh into my photography courses when my teachers were telling me, like, go to everything, you know, shoot everything, try to get backstage, try to finesse your way on stage, you know, do whatever it takes to get the shot. So I'm like, oh man, the Migos are coming. I gotta be there early. I gotta get on stage. I gotta capture the moment. And that's what I did, man. Got there early. I was able to get in with the party promoting crew as well because I was cool with a few of them. So they were cool with me photographing the event. I remember event started at 8. I got there at maybe 7. Migos were supposed to come on at like 11. They came at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But man, they get there and it was like sparks were flying. You know, I felt all the butterflies as I was taking photos of them performing. It was just beautiful to see. They were doing their thing. I mean, they were hot back then, man. It was like prime Migos time. It's 2014, so yeah, man, I was able to capture them during the show, and you just never know how meaningful your photos will be until
Facts. Yeah.
you know the future.
Yep.
You know, until things happen. And my favorite shot, which is on my website, was of Takeoff after his performance. He was just smoking. He had a towel over his head. I mean, the lights were going crazy on him. And it was my favorite shot. It was the most beautiful shot that I had taken. And it's just like, it's just so crazy to think about now with his passing, because it's like, man, for me, that picture means so much more because of, you know, now it's almost a celebration of his life. You know, it's almost a tribute to him now because, you know, he's moved on and went to heaven. So, yeah, that photo means a lot to me.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful photo. It's a beautiful photo. So, speaking of your ability to get the shot, you've had a wonderful collection that I was pulling up here of, you titled it Hussle. Talk to us about Hussle.
Hussle was a project I worked on when I moved to California. When I got my first job as a photographer in California, I worked for USA Today. And the week I got there, I pulled up to LA. The first week I got there, Nipsey Hussle had passed away.
So you got to California the week after?
The week of, or
a week of, man.
It was either the week of or the week before. But
okay,
that was the first project.
So it just it happened within that same time frame. Got it.
Yeah. So my job told me to go out there and just be there. So I was on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson, where his store, the Marathon store, was, from the day he died all the way up until his funeral and procession that went past the Marathon store. So with that, I had my camera on me and I photographed everything. And it was tough, man. You saw so many emotions. It was really sad. I have felt every negative emotion I could feel just off of the vibe, the energy. And it was really personal for a lot of people as well. So I had to learn how to move in those spaces, because I'm not from California, so I don't know what life is like out there. I'm not familiar with gang life out there. So, you know, I wanted to make sure.
You're from Kentucky. I hope not.
Yeah. I mean,
or Kansas and Kentucky still, but those, you're not. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just wasn't around it. So I had to learn how to move. I had to learn how to respect people's space, but also capture this moment, because, I mean, this was a moment in history for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did my best, man. And it was a roller coaster, but the last day was the funeral and the procession. And it ended on a good note. You know, everyone, it was a celebration at the end of the day of his life. And I was thankful that I was able to capture that celebration. And I was thankful that the end of that project just ended on a good note. Um, with so many people showing love and celebrating the things that Nipsey did for his community and the role model that he was for his community, being able to shed light on that as the major part of the project and the end of the project was good. That really helped me get through it. So,
indeed. On to something a little bit more fun. Talk to us about this photo of McGregor walking down the red carpet here.
Yeah, man, that was for a press run for his fight with Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, so did you get to go to the fight too?
I didn't get to go to the fight. No, the
Who
fight
were you
was
working
in.
for?
I was working for a company called the Players Tribune.
Oh, okay. So So this wasn't New York Times money.
It wasn't. It
USA.
wasn't.
Yeah, USA Today were like, look.
Yeah, I was
we
in
got
New
you
York.
Seat.
Yeah, I was in New York, but I wasn't working for the New York Times yet. So, yeah, the money was different. But regardless, McGregor was in New York and Mayweather was in New York for their press run. So they went to a few major cities and had face-offs and interviews, things like that. So I got to go to the one in New York, and it was a show, man. It was a freaking show. I mean, McGregor came out. He was acting a fool, talking trash, and it was the same thing. The access that I had, it wasn't as full as all the people had. So I kind of had to finesse my way on the stage, and like I was able to get myself in positions to get the shot, which was great.
Did you get one of Floyd like that as well, or did you just got McGregor?
I got Floyd as well, but it wasn't the same. I mean, McGregor walked on stage like he was the king of the world.
Yeah, he did. Too bad he didn't walk out of the ring like the king of the world.
Well, Floyd, he had his moment too, but he just threw money at him. He threw a lot of money.
But so the Floyd photo wasn't worthy to make it onto the website. Just McGregor.
No, this was the best shot.
Okay.
This was the most
because
it was a testament to like the person he was that night. And he was
no, it's
trying
a great
to be.
shot.
I mean, he was very like
bigger than life.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was
had to be. He was trying to be bigger than Mayweather. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, Mayweather,
exactly.
the undefeated, undisputed, etc. It's like he had to make himself even bigger than he already was.
Yeah, and that's what he was doing. He was making sure
all
the cameras were on him. He was making sure all the people were looking at him. He was, he was saying everything he could to make sure people heard him, just as a person.
Agreed.
And so,
agreed.
That's why that was my favorite shot. Also, visually, it was my favorite shot. But I mean, Floyd won the fight. So if I was there, I feel like a shot of Floyd would have been it. But for that press run, it was like,
McGregor won the press run. I'll give you that. He did.
Yeah.
Floyd won the fight. McGregor won the press run, which happens sometimes in boxing, where someone will win the press but not win the fight. Actually, happens a lot in boxing.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Yeah, I think Muhammad Ali was the only one that was good at doing both.
Okay.
So indeed. Well, hey, I appreciate you sharing some of your moments with us. There's some beautiful moments. Looking forward to seeing more that you do. Please take some time and peruse his website. Are people able to order any of your prints? Do you have prints for sale?
I don't have prints for sale at the moment, but if you want any prints, you can send me an email. My email is harrisonhillphoto@gmail.com. And I've done a couple shows, art shows where I've, just played my work and sold it. And I'm going to start doing that again in the future too. Once I get some money, once I get my money right and manage it well, which I'm currently doing. It all comes together. Got to save the money, set it aside for the art show budget. And once it gets to a good level, I'll start selling art again. But yeah, that's how.
Well, that's a great segue, sir, to get into our question that we have for all of our guests. And so we'd like to learn from you. What is, or what was, or is your first memory of money?
My first memory of money, it was probably when I sold candy in middle school.
That's a common one for the show. I'm trying to figure out. I guess I haven't talked to anyone that goes to the same school yet. Actually, no, I interviewed one of my friends from school. We were competing for selling candy. We were both selling candy. I remember there were days I'd dump into his backpack, days he'd dump into mine. But man, the candy selling, those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days. My dad had just got a Costco and Sam's Club subscription.
Oh yeah, yep, same here. We just got Sam's Club around the corner and convincing them, borrowing, begging, pleading. I just need $20 and I can turn it into 50. I can flip it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Man.
I get my
So
favorite.
what was your number
pack.
one seller? Yeah.
I would always get what I liked was just the sour stuff.
Okay.
So sour candy, sour punch straws, sour Skittles. There was a pack of all sour stuff. And I think I bought it because I knew that, you know, if I wanted to dibble and dabble, I could just, it would be what I liked as well. But
look, you're not supposed to get high on your own supply. Come on now. I guess.
I know.
Come on. And the 10 crack commandments were out by the time you were in high school. You should have known that.
I also thought that there would be a niche. Like if I liked it, then I think that other people would too. And they did.
So if they see you eating it, then so you were the salesperson as well. You were a demonstrator.
Yeah, sometimes, you know. It was a tactic. Once they say, let me get one, it's like, I'll sell you one.
I said, there. Okay, yeah. I got. Do you want bet? I give you your own pack. So
exactly,
indeed. Well, hey, Harrison, we appreciate you sharing some love on the Money Strip podcast. Again, for those who want to check out some of his work, go to harrisonhillphoto.com. If you want to reach out to him, of course, he can be found at Harrison Hill as well. Good job getting that handle. You must have been the first one to get it.
I wasn't. I got lucky.
You got real lucky. I couldn't even get mine. I was like, who has my name? I had to go with Yo Harrison on Twitter. I'm like, well, who else is out? And I Googled it. I was like, oh, actually a few people, just a few. But anyways, all it takes. They beat me to it. So again, please, people, even with my podcast, if you hear something you're like, I don't know if that necessarily applies to me. It probably doesn't, but get some help of a professional to bounce these ideas off of. Don't just take something you see on TikTok, you see on Twitter, you see on YouTube or anything else, especially when it comes to something so personal like finance, and think that it's the holy grail and that's going to be your solution. So, just trust and verify, do some more research, get a second opinion. And then, of course, let's see, we are coming up on, this is your episode 96. So episode number 100 is coming soon. We're going to really have some fun for that one. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is. I do know who the guest is. I do now. I'm not going to tell you. Very excited about it. You should be excited too. But we're going to have some fun. That will be launching in January. That will be episode number 100. We will kick off season 5 with that. Can y'all believe season 5? We've been doing this for 5 seasons, 100 episodes. And I am very grateful to all of you as listeners, as YouTube, my subscribers. I think that's what you're called. Subscribe. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up or something. Like it, share it. Y'all know what to do. And then, of course, if you're listening on Spotify, on Apple, please go ahead and give us your love on there as well. We will see you next time here on the Money Script Podcast. As always, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to get a little dose of financial literacy today. We'll talk to you next time.